share the book.
Yeah, I'm sharing.
I don't know where the
No
page.
problem, no problem. So, hello, YouTube family. We are reading the book Healing is the New High, and let us share the book. We are at chapter 7, and over to you, Shalini. Can you see the book?
Yes, I can.
All right, let's go ahead.
Chapter 7, When Your Fire Burns. Self care will reignite your power and connect you with the cosmic body. There is a fire inside of you. It is a light that burns and it keeps you safe. It burns away all that you don't need and it's hot enough to burn away everything that's hurt you. Your inner fire keeps you safe in the way that your fear has always wanted to keep you safe. But fear cannot keep you safe because it lies. It can't help it. It's biased. Fear is based only on the worst things that have happened to you. It has no comprehension of all the amazing things that are possible. Fear cannot imagine there's anything that you don't need to be afraid of. It only knows the worst of life. But the fire inside of you knows more. It knows that fear is a valuable friend, someone you can learn from, and who knows secrets that are worth listening to. But it also knows that fear is never ever a good leader. Your fire welcomes fear to help it avoid steering you into the worst possible situations. But it knows that fear is often dishonest or wrong, and that it wants you to avoid anything that's uncertain or mysterious. And your fire knows that brilliant possibilities lie in the unknown. But sometimes our trauma puts out our inner fire. We are flooded with emotion and pain, and yes, fear. We are overloaded, overwhelmed. So we turn away from the fire and it cools and flickers out. Now it's time to care for that flame, to reconnect with the power you have always had and burn away the obstacles that life has thrown in your way. Because this is not destructive fire, it is the fire of your inner healing, your inner strength, and your true power. Taking care of yourself. Self care is integral to raising your vibration. But remember, it involves taking care of your mind, body, and spirit, or as we have illustrated in this book, our bodies. Many of us neglect the work required for the mind to thrive. It's fine to respond to your negative thoughts with positive, empowering ones, turning I can't do this into I have done it before and I can do it again. But if you have an underlying feeling of sadness, anger, or fear, you must reprogram the mind. You must seek to transform your emotions instead of ignoring them by masking them with positive thoughts that don't fuel a change in your state. You're already doing this by uncovering the deep rooted beliefs that affect how you feel every day or in moments of hardship. You must address these beliefs. And it's important to add to this by building self care practices and techniques into your day to day life. My first book is packed with ideas for effectively and lovingly caring for yourself. The self care practices that work for you could be those with which you have already familiar, or they might be things that are currently a bit alien to you and that you have to try in order to find out if they suit you. We have already worked with some avenues for creating change, and now I would like you to take time to explore nourishing your whole self through simple daily tasks and or practices such as journaling, meditation, affirmations, emotional freedom technique, visualization, and breath work. Don't worry, you don't need to do all of these things. The point is to figure out what works for you and then make it a regular part of your life. No matter what's in front of us, if the lens we are using to perceive it is cracked, it will never look and feel as good as it's meant to. Self care is a simple way to fill the cracks in your lens with gold. You must seek to transform your emotions instead of ignoring them by masking them with positive thoughts that don't fuel up a change in your state. You are already doing this by uncovering the deep rooted beliefs that affect how you feel every day or in moments of hardship. You must address these beliefs. Practice 10. Build a self care routine. You might be wondering why this practice doesn't appear earlier in the book. After all, as I mentioned in chapter 3, self care is essential to healing. We can't heal if we are not taking care of ourselves and feeling well and centered and nourished. Nevertheless, The reason I want you to build your self care routine now at this late stage in the process is because good self care practices that really suit you are much easier to establish if you're already pretty clear about what you need and how you're feeling. And the work we have done so far means that you're now ready to be honest about what works for you. Although there are some fundamental practices that can help everyone, self care doesn't look the same from one individual to the next. One person might feel supported and refreshed by a bath and a cup of tea or a massage, while another might need a tough workout and a cold shower to feel that sense of being cleansed and ready for whatever lies ahead. It's not only that, at the start of this process, your understanding of self care might have been limited to the physical body, but now, having moved through this book, you are in touch with the other six bodies that interweave and interrelate. You're connected with your wholeness, which means you can build a self care routine that acts on deeper levels. Subconsciously, you can feel when your subtle bodies are energized and cared for, and when they are not. And you are much more skilled at knowing how to give them what they need, to give you what you need. Self care matters. First, find a quiet space and get comfortable. Ground yourself by closing your eyes and taking the deep cleansing breaths. So you can be fully present for this exercise. Now, grab your notebook and pen, along with a drink or snack or both, if it helps you focus into the moment. And then title three pages of your notebook. The first page is daily self care, the second is weekly self care, and the third is monthly self care. Take a bird's eye view of your average day. Even the busiest amongst us have at least two or three 10 to 30-minute slots each day that we usually spend scrolling mindlessly through our phone or lying in bed wishing the day wouldn't start or watching Netflix shows that don't make us feel great. I have nothing against watching TV to unwind, but try to do it in moderation and out of choice rather than habit. At the top of your daily self care page, make a note of these slots. They'll become your go to self care moments to fill with the good stuff. Start your self care practices research. I don't mean just reading things online, although a bit of that can be helpful. I mean hands on, experiential research. Make a list of practices you want to try and then try them. See how they feel. Decide how long your research period is going to be. I recommend a week or 2 weeks if you're really short on spare time, but restricted so it doesn't go forever. You have got to stay purposeful. Don't know what EFT is? Hit YouTube and use a guided video to try it out. Never done a yoga sun salutation? Again, YouTube is your friend. Search for sun salutation video and learn the sequence. This is a great self care practice to weave into your daily routine because one salute turns into a habit and a habit turns into a lifestyle. Never tried journaling? Write down your thoughts in whatever order they come to mind for 10 minutes. Never taken a bath with essential oils and candles? Do it. Seriously. Unsure what breath work entails? Search on Google for different types of breathing exercises and try them out. You'll come across a variety of techniques to try, from yoga pranayam to more recent practices such as the Wim Hof method. Try out any and every self-care practice you have ever been interested in, and some that are completely new to you. Here are some more ideas. Read 5 pages of a book. Write down 8 things you're grateful for. Get up and go straight outside for a walk around the block. Start your day with a healthy smoothie. Write out all your thoughts until your mind feels clear. Take a spin class. Learn to lift weights. Drive out to a forest and walk among the trees. Try chanting a powerful mantra. Hello again, YouTube. Lie on the floor with your legs up against your wall for 10 minutes. Moisturize your whole body. Anything, anything, anything. Try it all. This is your research. When you try a self care practice that feels good and makes you feel calm and whole and steady, write it down and then return to your notebook. First, note down the daily practices with which you are going to fill your self care slots. Then, note the weekly practices that will help to add a positive structure to each 7 day period. These will be slightly longer ones, things like a big workout or walk in a forest and no, and so on. Next, consider what you'd like to do once a month to give yourself a real boost. You may or may not have included these things in your research. How about carving out your way to somewhere else, spending a night somewhere other than your home, visiting a family who don't live nearby, seeing a therapist, getting a really good massage, meditating for an entire morning, or taking an entire morning just for yourself. These are all just ideas. This is your self care routine, only yours. It needs to work for you and only you. And once you have this routine in place, you can use it as a way to start with your healing work, to keep returning it to yourself. It doesn't need to look the same as the self care routine of someone you follow online. And you don't need to post it to your social media pages unless you want to, which is also fine. It's just yours. It's time for the light. Let's go back to that inner fire for a minute. When have you felt brightest? And when have you felt the most darkness? Have you ever felt that incredible brightness follows a time of deep, impenetrable darkness? There was a woman called Jeanette. I have changed her name to protect her identity, who had a nice enough life and got on with her straightforward job without any complaints. She was not very happy, but she was not at all unhappy either. Everything was just fine. Until the day everything changed. On her walk home along the River Thames in London, one evening, she cut through Borough Market to get her to her bus stop. The outdoor food market was full of people having after work drinks and sitting at tables set outside the restaurants that lined the narrow streets. Jeanette walked through the market down a little alleyway and out onto the main road. Suddenly, she heard screams. People ran towards her as fast as they could, away from something. And then she saw a man with a knife. He was waving it frenetically and lunging toward people. Some people lay on the ground, apparently motionless. Jeanette froze. She couldn't move. People screamed at her, go, but everyone was more focused on getting themselves out of the way, pushing past her and rushing for cover. The air was thick with panic. Then she saw policemen who appeared as if from nowhere. They were armed and shouting, and then other policemen ran toward her, holding out their arms and pushing people. Jeanette ran. She ran as fast as she could, faster than she would ever run in her life. Other people were throwing themselves into restaurants and shops, getting inside. Undercover, but she did not. She just ran, and she kept running. She says she is not sure how long she ran for, but judging by where she was when she stopped, must have been an hour or more. Her fear propelled her onward, and she never felt tired or out of breath. In fact, she never fully registered why she was running. She just ran. Her flight response was in full control of her body, and her conscious mind had taken a back seat. When she made it back to her home, Jeanette turned on her computer and read the news. There had been a terrorist attack on London Bridge and in Borough Market. She felt detached, as if she were reading about an incident on the other side of the world. But she had been there. She was not ready to acknowledge it, but she had lived through it and she had run for her life. Over the next few weeks, the reality of this experience began to sink in. Jeanette's state of shock had protected her from the moment and switched off her usual thought processes. Act now, think later. That's what fear tells us, like this tells us to do. And we need that because it can save our life. But then, at some point, we have to start thinking again. And as Jeanette started to think, she found it almost impossible to process what had happened. People had been dying right in front of her, and she had stood there, frozen, and then she had run. Men had been trying to kill everyone they could reach. If they had reached her, if she had stayed frozen for just a few seconds longer, they could have killed her. Why hadn't she died? Why had those other people died? Why had these men wanted to kill everyone in such a violent and meaningless way? People they didn't know, people who had families, who were innocent and were just doing what they did on an evening after work. As Janet sank into darkness, her inner fire went out. She was lost and everything was black. She thought repeatedly that she would die. She said she didn't want to die, but she didn't know how she could carry on living. Nothing made sense anymore. But somehow she did keep going. One of the few good things about Jeanette's experience was that it was so public and so clearly traumatic that everyone knew about it. Everyone understood how bad she must have felt, and they all wanted to help. She didn't have to keep her fear a secret in the way that many people do. when they go through a more private traumatic event. She could ask for support, and after a while, she did ask. She got therapy, talked to friends, asked people to go with her when she went out so she would feel less afraid. 6 months after the attack, Jeanette returned to the area of London where it had happened. She had avoided that place even though the quickest route to and from work was right through it. But she went back and stood exactly where she had stood at that evening, frozen. She had closed her eyes and focused inward. She allowed the memories to flood back, the feelings, the shock, the utter confusion, and the primal animal fear. She took a deep breath, and when she opened her eyes, she felt a light come back on. Her flame began to burn again. Today, Jeanette's doing something new. She left her perfectly fine job, got a loan, and started university, where she's studying psychology and trauma therapy. She is going to become a therapist because she wants to help people come to terms with unimaginable experiences. She went through the darkest time of her life, but now she says she has never felt brighter or stronger. I'm sure you're reading this book because at some point you have been in the dark, or you're in the dark right now. It's time for the light. You have spent enough time in fear, and it starts with your inner fire. Make friends with it, protect it, listen to it, and let it burn. Practice 11. Care for your fire with candle gazing. This practice is based on an ancient meditative practice called Trataka or candle gazing. It sort of does what it says on the tin. You gaze at the candle, but I have taken the benefits of this practice and expanded them into a further one that involves visualization and journaling too. The benefits of candle gazing, as described in the book Sure Ways to Self Realization and backed up in a cognitive study published by the International Journal of Yoga, include the following: strengthened eye muscles and improved focus, not only the physical focus of the eye, but also our ability to concentrate, a relaxed mind and body. It has also been found to improve sleep quality, a calm nervous system, and a reduction in anxiety, improved mental clarity, making way for clearer sense of self and purpose. And when candle gazing is combined with the visualization and journaling practice we'll do here, you will feel connected to your inner fire, your motivation, your protection, your burning energy. You will use that energy to burn away fear and insecurity, arriving at a steady sense of who you are and how you want to live in the world from this moment onward. Be able to reconnect with your fire whenever it feels dull or weak, and remind yourself of why you are dedicated to this inner healing work. No matter what's in front of us, if the lens we are using to perceive it is cracked, it will never look and feel as good as it's meant to. Self care is a simple way to fill the cracks in your lens with gold. Fire it up. You will need a pen and your notebook. Open at a blank page, a candle, secure in a candlestick holder. A simple tea light will also do fine. And matches or a lighter, and a quiet, private room that can be darkened. For this reason, the practice is best done in the evening, after sunset, or very early in the morning before sunrise. Make the room dark, switch off the lights and any screens that are illuminated. Close the curtains, blinds, and the door. Sit on a chair and place the candle on a table in front of you so it's more or less at the eye level. Light the candle. Blink rapidly for a few seconds and shake your head to release tension in the neck. Then focus your gaze on the candle flame. Allow everything else in the room to disappear. You're completely focused on the flame and only flame. Do not blink. Keep your gaze on the flame as long as you possibly can without blinking. Your eyes will start to water. Stay focused. Then, when you really can't keep your eyes open and on the flame any longer, close them. Notice the colors and shades you see behind your eyelids, impressions from the flame, shifting shapes and images, brightness contrasting with the dark. Then, as that brightness shifts and changes, imagine that it's becoming an image of the flame within you, your flame, your fire. In the darkness behind your eyelids, you see your fire burning, a reflection of the light and strength inside of you. It gets stronger and brighter. Maybe the flame fills your vision completely, and then it fills your mind completely, and then it fills your body completely. It feels like warmth and strength and happiness. It feels like potential. And as it burns away fear. It burns away the limiting beliefs that have held you back for such a long time. It burns away everything that stops you from stepping into who you truly are. You know this flame is your own. It's always been there. Even when the darkness around you has been too thick for you to see it, it will always be there. Rub the palms of your hands together to generate some heat. Place the palms over your eyes and gently blink into your hands. Let the light from the candle filter through your fingers. Then move your hands away. Turn on a lamp or a ceiling light and blow out the candle. On the blank page of your notebook, write down whatever thoughts come into your head. It doesn't matter what they are or if they seem to be irrelevant. Let them out. Put them down. Fill one page. You could write in free form, stream of consciousness style, or simply make quick bullet points to lay out your thoughts. Finally, take one deep breath, fill your lungs with oxygen, and then breathe it all out. Should I continue?
I'll take it from here.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Chapter 8, You Are Free. Nirvana is freedom. It's not a place, but a state of the self and an expression of whole, of healing. Here are some things that freedom might feel like to you: lightness, openness, as if you've been hunched over and closed inward, and now you're expansive and huge and ready to welcome everything. A sense of being complete and whole, a feeling connected to everything around you, as if you really are the wave that knows it's part of the ocean and always will be. Being a city house, that cat that's finally moved into the countryside and gets to roam through fields and forests. You are a bit unsure because this is all so new, but you've never felt more like a cat. Cycling down a long, empty, smooth surfaced road on the side of a hill that's not so steep, it's scary, but just steep enough that you go joyfully fast and the wind blows away the cobwebs. Making a decision that feels completely right, being confident that the bad things that happened in your past cannot continue to hurt your indefinitely, excitement for the future, going out without worrying about what time you have to head home, not watching the clock, not worrying about what other people think of you, not expecting the worst, knowing that all kinds of good things are going to happen, knowing that even when you experience difficult times, you have everything you need to get through them, not feeling scared all the time. You'll still feel scared sometimes. You might even feel scared of freedom. Sometimes it's all good. Knowing you can be free in every moment. This is the new high. You've taken charge of your inner healing. You're your own healer. I can I call you that now because you really are. I mean, you always have been, but now you know how to use all the wisdom within you. You're doing it. The progress you've made has nothing to do with a guru or an outside healing force. You've simply gained some tools that allow you to connect with the guide inside you. You've opened up a new conversation with yourself by connecting with your inner light. It's in this place that your inner fire and wisdom opens the door to transmutation. And as I mentioned many pages ago, taking charge of your healing in this way is one of the most powerful acts of self love you can choose. By reading this book and working through the practices within it, you've told yourself that you're worthy to change. You've sent a strong message to your inner world that you are ready to raise your vibration and live higher. Nothing gets to keep you down anymore. You're returning to equilibrium. You might not feel as if you're quite there yet, and that's natural. This is a journey after all, and there's no clear end. We'll be healing and hurting and healing again for the rest of our lives. But what you're doing every time you refocus on your journey is lifting yourself into a higher vibrational state, creating possibilities for yourself and radiating out powerful energy that will be returned to you. Repeating that message that you are worthy of feeling better, worthy of change, and that you ultimately deserve to feel free. Healing isn't only about healing, it's about your entire life. If you are seeking success and have goals to achieve it, it's vital to focus on your energy, on your inner self. Recovering from your emotional wounds is an important step if you want to change your life in a big way. So, healing isn't just a spiritual types or for hippies or whatever you want to call them. Healing is a necessary for anyone who wants change. I've said it before, there's no tricking the universe. If you are vibrating low because of emotional pain, no amount of external effort will lift your vibration for very long. You've got to start within and enable yourself to put out the positive energy that you wish to receive back. Practice 12, float into it. An important part of experiencing freedom is knowing that you are a part of the fabric of the universe. Not just knowing this with your brain, but feeling it, embodying it, knowing it in every cell, every subtle energy flow, every part of you, knowing that you are not the wave, you are the ocean. As with all the progress you've made so far and will make in the future, this isn't a one time thing. You won't experience this kind of liberating oneness once and then be certain of it that for the rest of your life. It will come and go. You are human and your existence isn't perpetually moving in from one direction in a clean and simple manner. It's complex and your journey has twists and turns. Healing is messy. Freedom isn't always easy to access, but it gets easier to access if you practice it. And if you actively engage in a conscious process of freeing yourself, which is exactly that exercise is. Healing isn't about your healing, it's about your entire life. If you're seeking success and have goals to achieve, it's vital to focus your energy on your inner self. Recovering from your emotional wounds is an important step if you want to change your life in a big way. Becoming. Get settled. As always, you'll need to be in the quiet and comfortable space, free from disturbances. Take your time to make adjustments you need to make. Closing doors, putting on or taking off clothes to make sure you're a comfortable temperature, anything you need to do. Number one, find your seated posture. If you feel comfortable sitting upright without support for your back, great. But if not, feel free to sit on a chair that supports your spine or sit on the floor that with your back against a wall. The goal isn't to adopt a formal meditation posture, but to feel steady and comfortable and focus on your practice without being distracted by an aching back, hips, or shoulders. Number two, close your eyes and take a few deep, full breaths. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. The out breath could be gentle and you could turn it into a powerful, loud sigh. Whatever helps you to feel relaxed, to arrive in a present moment, and to let go of the rest of the day up to this moment. Then allow the breath to settle into a natural rhythm. Number three, notice the body. The parts of your body that are supported by the ground, the floor, or the furniture beneath you, the parts of your body that feel warmer or cooler than others. Notice the length of the spine from the bottom right up to the top. Notice the weight of your eyelids. Allow yourself to be here and only here because there's nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. Four, now bring the awareness to the center of your chest. We are noticing this area, the heart, and the space around it. Because this freedom practice isn't just about the mind, we are going to use the mind to do it, but it's working on every aspect of your being. It's the practice of the heart as much as the practice of the mind. So notice the heart, notice the chest. As you breathe, allow the chest to expand, the shoulders broaden slightly, the chest opens, the heart opens. The space that grows there is a space of connection. And you feel your constant, unshakable connection with a greater whole. Say the following statement or affirmation out loud or silently in your mind. With an open heart, I'm connected with oneness. Number five, allow this oneness or expansion in the chest to remain without force. As you begin to visualize yourself standing on a beach, really take time to put yourself there. Notice the sand or pebbles beneath your feet, the textures against your bare skin. See the color of the sky and the ocean out ahead of you. You can smell the salt on the air, feel the gentle breeze brushing against you. You can hear the waves softly lapping at the shore. You stand at the edge of the ocean looking out. And then, when you feel present in this moment at the edge of the ocean, dip a toe into the water. You lift your leg, feeling the muscles working, the extension of your toes towards the ocean. Then you feel the coolness enveloping you as your toe touches the water. And you notice that as soon as you come into contact with the ocean, you become water. That your toes becomes water. It's still you and yet it's water. You move your foot further into the ocean, and as you do so, your whole foot becomes water. When you pull your foot out, it's as it was before. Your foot, skin, bone, muscles. Curiously, you decide to go further because you feel the power of becoming one with the water. You feel the strength of being not only you, but also something bigger. You step into the ocean with both feet. Gradually, you go further out, and as each part of your body is submerged, it becomes water. Until you are water, all of you. You are a part of the expansive blue, and it feels good. You lie on your back with your water body, feeling perfectly supported and held by the ocean. You float on your back, gazing up from this altered state, and you're no longer held captive by doubt, uncertainty, insecurity, or fear. Because you're not alone. Never ever. You're supposed to be here. You're a part of this. You always have been and you always will be. Number 9, take your time here. There's no rush. And then, when you feel ready, gently make your way back to the shore. Perhaps you swim or you simply move there effortlessly. You stand up and your body resumes its usual form. You take a few easy breaths and look out at the ocean again. And a gentle smile spread across your face because you are not trapped in any perceived or prescribed versions of yourself or of who anyone thinks you are supposed to be. With that smile, you say again, with an open heart, I'm connected with oneness. Finally, in your own time, bring your awareness back to your breath. Take in 3 deep, slow breaths through your nose and slowly let them out through your mouth. And when you are ready, gently and slowly open your eyes. A truth. You won't feel good all the time. Inner freedom doesn't mean being happy all the time. It doesn't mean that on every occasion you step out of the house, you'll stride confidently with a big grin on your face, although I hope you do that often. This might not sound like the most uplifting way to connect with your inner freedom. However, it's an incredibly important thing to understand because if you don't, somewhere down the line, you still might think that you are doing something wrong. This really genuine kind of freedom is actually about acceptance and a calm sense of knowing. You're free because you're not dreading the moment when something difficult happens. You're free because you know that whatever comes your way, you'll be able to accept it and work through it. You're free because you welcome the full range of emotions that are part of being a living, breathing, feeling human being. And your ultimate strength is knowing that you can return to equilibrium, that your true peaceful self is always there, no matter how much clutter and outside stuff is muddling, how you interpret things in any given moment. The surface might be choppy and hard to handle, but the water beneath is always still. You're capable of looking beneath the surface and seeing that the stillness is always there. Free yourself when you're feeling stuck. You're in the 7th body now, working into it, meditating through it with each word you read. But don't forget that all of the bodies are interconnected all of the time. Whenever you feel trapped and disconnected from any sense of freedom, go back. Go to the physical body and move it. Run like a wild child. Swim in a river. Jump up and down. Stretch. Work out. Do yoga. Freedom in the physical body is one of the quickest way to feel freedom in the deeper level when you're feeling stuck. Everything we've done in these pages has been leading to freedom because at the end of it all, that's what self-healing is. Shedding the weight of the past, letting go and being liberated. But again, this journey isn't linear. Sometimes we need to do something to remind ourselves that what this freedom feels like for a few seconds or minutes or hours so we don't forget what we are doing all of this for. So here are a few things you can do when you're feeling stuck to quickly feel free. Take off all the clothes, not appropriate in all situations. I know, but it works. Even better if you can do it outside. You could take off all your clothes and safely jump into a cold river or a sea, provided you can swim. Laugh, ideally with someone else, but you can laugh on your own too. It always helps if there's something funny at to laugh at, but have you ever tried laughing at nothing? You can. The ridiculousness of it makes you laugh even more, or you could try laughter yoga. Tell someone something really honest. Be real, but don't be rude. Take a day off in the middle of the week and spend every minute of it outside from sunrise to sunset. Meditate. Switch up your schedule. Bump the stressful thing you are procrastinating over and do something else. Tell someone that you're finding something hard and ask for their help. Dance, but really dance. Forget self-consciousness and put on some music and move in whatever weird way you feel like moving. Go somewhere and do an activity completely on your own. Walk down the stairs backward, be careful, obviously. Get up early and go for a walk while everyone else in the house town is still asleep. Start learning something you've always wanted to learn. Whenever you feel disconnected from any sense of freedom, go to the physical body and move it. Run like a wild child, swim in a river, jump up and down, work out, do yoga. Freedom in the physical body is a quick way to feel freedom at a deeper level. Practice 13. Walk in freedom. It feels a bit strange to write down this practice. It's the last one, which means this process we've been working through together is coming to an end, but not exactly. Although you'll reach the end of this book, your journey is really just beginning. You are in a very exciting place, ready to go on and take everything you've learned into your life. Some of the practices we've done might stay with you as your journey ebbs and flows. Use them whenever you need to. Although we talk about it as a journey, this process is not linear one. It's not a matter of getting from A to B and then you are done. It's a lifelong process of learning, growing, changing, and relearning. And there will be setbacks. Everyone has setbacks. Everyone has days when they feel like they've completely lost the track of where they're meant to be and have fallen back into old habits and patterns and need to start again from the scratch. Off days are fine, even off weeks or months or years. What's important is that you get back in touch with your capacity to heal yourself. Remember that you are your own healer and you've all the tools you need. Use them. I have off days. I feel stuck sometimes, and I have a sense that all the good work I have done and the steps I have put in place have become undone. Something triggers me in a strong way, and I drop right back into a state of fear. But then I remember that I have the tools. All the practices I've shared with you in the book are useful to me too. So even though we are getting into our last practice now, we are still journeying together. And hey, I'm on Instagram in case you hadn't. Time to get out there. This exercise is a walk, not just any walk. It's a walk in your new sense of freedom. Head outside. If it's possible, get out into nature, a forest, field, near a river or ocean. But if it's not, a city walk is equally abundant with opportunities to enjoy your freedom. Walk, loosen up your body, hold your head high, even smile if you want to. Take big, relaxed, and confident steps. Not in a hurry, but not dawdling. Feel freedom in every step. As you walk, notice what's around you. Take it all in plants, trees, buildings, people, animals, vehicles, the weather, the sky, clouds, sunshine, all of it. And notice what's within you. For the duration of this practice, know that you are free. Nothing that hurts you in the past is here, holding you back. You're striding peacefully and happily along without any worries or fears. You're practicing the subversive art of walking in the world with a deep sense of freedom. You know that you're free. Don't worry if, generally speaking, you're not really there yet. You don't have to feel healed. Just let yourself be free while you're doing this walk. Keep going. Enjoy it. Let it be one of the best experiences of your life so far. This simple, uncomplicated walk. Walk until you are ready to stop. And when you do stop and go home or back to your work, back to work, or wherever you are going, give yourself a few minutes to adjust. Instead of jumping straight into the thing you are doing next, stand or sit still, breathe deeply, and smile. Why is this the final practice in the book? Because it's time to show up the world as you. No more hiding. There's no one else like you, and your uniqueness is needed. Honestly, it is. How will you know if your efforts are working? There's no single answer to this question because it's personal, and one individual sign of healing could change over time too. But in general, all of the below are strong indicators that the work you are doing is truly having an important positive impact. Even when you do feel triggered, or it will still happen, you are able to return to a state of calmness and steadiness more quickly than before, and are less likely to spiral into days, weeks, or months of a triggered state. You feel generally stronger and more confident, and notice that your insecurity has subsided. You recognize your own power to change your situation. You can more easily predict when you are going to be triggered by a situation or an interaction, and can prepare yourself for it. You feel less ashamed of your own pain and more comfortable about expressing yourself. You have more confidence than other people will listen to you and respect you. That feeling of being stuck in one place with no hope of ever moving forward has lessened. You more frequently feel that you can move and build a happier and more fulfilling life. Your visualizations and fantasies about the future are filled with hope instead of disaster. Off days are fine, even off weeks or months or years. What's important is what you get, that you get back in touch with your capacity to heal yourself. Remember that you are your own healer, and you have all the tools you need. So use them. Freedom for me. Freedom feels different to different people. For me, the most telling experience of feeling completely liberated on my self healing journey came when I realized that I'd no longer be shown or told what my life should look like. Comparison and judgment are regular features of my childhood, and failures seemed to be bolder than successes, which made me feel that I wasn't good enough. Now, although I accept that I can be and do better, as growth is constant and essential, I also balance this with acceptance of who I am, self love. The fear of judgment is real. Even when I accepted my calling to help others, I had to face the social awkwardness of being judged by my peers for leaving a respectful, steady corporate job, a thriving industry, and a luxurious lifestyle to follow a higher purpose. In fact, when I told the manager of my last corporate job I was leaving to pursue something greater, he told me I had struggled to go from a great salary to nothing. He refused to believe that I believed in my own dreams, and he said that he wouldn't be surprised if, after leaving that job, I went through depression and killed myself. But it wasn't his words that stuck me in the deepest. It was those of my closest friends and family members who told my other loved ones that I had become a bum, a nobody without money, status, or stability, who was chasing unrealistic dreams. After the release and reach of my first book, which I'm extremely grateful for, I could have rebuilt my identity and rubbed it in their faces, but I felt no animosity towards them. In fact, I celebrated with some of them. If I had felt any hostility towards them, I would have meant they still had control over me, and that my self worth was still dependent on their opinion of me. But frankly, I have done the work and I live for me, even if that means helping others with no expectation and getting anything in return. Today, then, when people ask me what I do, I'm comfortable saying I just try to help people, while reminding myself that I'm not defined by the titles and labels. I have nothing to prove, so I don't try to sell myself to others. I know the people who ask me that question sometimes hold preconceived ideas, and I have never been able to stop them from judging me. But my inner response is, who cares? Not as a form of apathy, but as acceptance and a reminder that it doesn't matter to me what other people think. I choose something meaningful, and ultimately, their perception of me is a reflection of them. They see me through the past conditioning and trauma. However, I've chosen to live as my true self, and I couldn't feel free. I'm living my life on my own terms. I no longer fall victim to opinions and judgments. Rarely do these people live rent-free in my mind. When I meet someone new, I'm worried about what they'll think of me because I know what I think of myself. And I know that other people's judgment don't change who I am. Peace of mind is the real luxury and true freedom, and I have it in abundance. And freedom for you, it's all to come. Life is a wide open. If there's one more thing I'd like to ask you to do is it's to trust. Trust that you can feel free, that you will. And what when it happens and you are in the moment and feeling the lightness and openness and peace, trust that it's real and that you deserve it. Your pain isn't talking. Fear isn't taking the lead. You are beautiful.